Stop being an emotional fool. Yes, you heard it right. Because if no one else has told you the truth, let me be the one today. Emotions are beautiful servants, but they are terrible masters. And the more you let them drive your life, the more you will crash into decisions you can't reverse, relationships you should have never entered, and moments you wish you could take back. You cry over people who never cried over you. You break yourself trying to fix what was never yours to carry, and still you call it loyalty or love or kindness. But sometimes it's not love, it's emotional slavery. You've handed your peace over like a gift to those who didn't earn it. And you wonder why you feel so drained, so empty, so unseen. People will play with your emotions if you let them. Life will exploit your softness if you don't put structure around your soul. Being emotional isn't weakness, but being led only by emotion, that's dangerous. You cannot make permanent decisions based on temporary feelings. You cannot give your destiny away just to feel needed in someone else's chaos. So the real question is, how long will you keep apologizing for caring too much, giving too much, feeling too much, when the truth is, deep down, you know it's time to change? Not who you are, but how you operate. You need boundaries, not just feelings. You need wisdom, not just reactions. You need to stop living on emotional impulse and start living with emotional intelligence. Because the moment you stop being an emotional fool is the moment you take your power back. You've probably heard it said that emotions make us human. And that's true. But what no one tells you is that emotions, if left unchecked, can also make us prisoners. Think about it. How many times have you made a decision in the heat of the moment, only to look back and ask yourself, what was I thinking? How many times have you exploded in anger or drowned in sadness or chased validation, only to wake up the next day feeling regret heavier than your own thoughts? That's not because you're broken. It's because you're human. But being human doesn't mean you let your emotions control the steering wheel of your life. Emotions are powerful. They have the ability to inspire greatness or destroy potential. One moment of confidence can make you stand up for yourself. One moment of fear can make you walk away from something that was meant for you. Emotions can start wars and build nations. They can ruin a relationship in seconds or save a life with one act of compassion. That's how powerful they are. But here's the truth most people avoid. Power without direction is dangerous. Fire can warm a home or it can burn it to the ground. It all depends on how you use it. The same goes for your emotions. Your emotions are tools, not truths. They are signals, not commands. And when you begin to understand that difference, your life changes. Let me ask you something. Who's really in control when you lash out in frustration, or beg for attention, or stay in a toxic relationship because you feel something you can't explain? Is it you, or is it your emotions? When your emotions become the pilot of your life, they don't care about the destination. They only care about the thrill of the moment. They'll have you saying things you don't mean, doing things that betray your values, and settling for less than you deserve. All because they're loud enough to drown out your better judgment. But you weren't meant to live like that. Some of the most successful, disciplined, and focused people you admire didn't get there because they felt their way through life. They mastered the art of acknowledging their emotions without surrendering to them. They felt fear, but did it anyway. They felt rejection, but didn't lower their standards. They felt overwhelmed, but kept moving forward with clarity. That's what real strength looks like. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need to stop feeling to gain control. You don't need to become cold or robotic. You just need to understand that emotions are meant to work for you, not against you. That sadness can teach you where you hurt. That anger can show you where you feel violated. That love, when handled right, can be a force of transformation. But only if you stop handing your life over to every emotional impulse that knocks on your door. You are not weak because you feel deeply, but you become powerless the moment you let those feelings lead you blindly. The power comes when you pause. When you ask yourself, is this emotion telling me the truth or just trying to get a reaction? That one question can save you years of heartache. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean eliminating them. It means honoring them without becoming enslaved by them. How many lives have been permanently altered by decisions made in moments of temporary emotion? More than we'll ever know. One impulsive text, one angry outburst, one tearful yes when your gut screamed no, one decision that felt right in the moment but left behind a mess you couldn't sweep away. And it always starts the same way, with a feeling so intense it hijacks logic. You feel betrayed, so you cut someone off. You feel lonely, so you settle. You feel excited, so you leap before you look. Then reality hits, and suddenly you're stuck with consequences that your emotions have long forgotten. That's the thing. Feelings are fast, but consequences are slow. They linger, they echo. They follow you into places your emotions never intended to go. And here's what most people don't realize. Your feelings are not facts. They are temporary reactions trying to convince you they are permanent truths. They scream, do it now, while wisdom whispers, think it through. And in that moment, if you obey your feelings without questioning them, you give them the keys to your future. Why do we keep doing it? Why do we let fleeting emotions build lifelong stories? Maybe because no one ever taught us to pause. Maybe because we think feeling something intensely must mean it's true. But intensity doesn't equal truth. Just because a feeling is loud doesn't mean it's leading you the right way. Think about it. Have you ever been on the edge of something big, something meaningful, and your fear screamed, turn back? And maybe you did. But looking back now, was that fear telling you the truth or just trying to keep you safe inside your comfort zone? See, that's the problem. When we don't pause to examine our feelings, we obey them blindly. And blind obedience to emotion is one of the fastest ways to destroy what you were trying to build. Let's get practical. You get angry at your partner, so you say something you can't take back. You feel unworthy, so you chase someone who treats you like you are. You feel inspired, so you quit your job with no plan. It's all emotion, no direction. And it feels right in the moment, but when the emotion fades, you're left with fallout, not freedom. The greatest discipline is not in action. It's in restraint. It's in saying, let me feel this, but not act on it just yet. It's in asking, will I still want this when I'm calm? That one pause, that one breath can save you from years of regret. This doesn't mean you ignore your feelings. It means you honor them without surrendering to them. Let your emotions inform you, but never let them instruct your final decision. Because a temporary emotion might be loud, but your future is too important to be decided by a feeling that won't last the night. Your emotions were meant to be a signal, not a sentence. Let them alert you, but don't let them arrest you. You owe it to yourself to pause before you sign a contract with your feelings. Because some of the biggest regrets in life come from saying yes too quickly or no too emotionally. Feel everything, but choose wisely. At some point, you have to ask yourself, how much of your peace have you traded just to keep the wrong people comfortable in your life? How many times have you silenced your voice ignored your instincts, or tolerated disrespect just to avoid confrontation. And all the while, your soul is screaming, your mind is exhausted, and your peace is slipping through your fingers like water you can't hold. Here's the truth no one teaches soon enough. Peace is not something you find, it's something you protect. And protecting it means having boundaries, not walls, not bitterness, boundaries. Emotional lines that separate what you allow and what you will never allow again. You see, people don't respect what you don't reinforce. If you let others walk over your feelings without consequence, they will do it again. If you constantly say it's okay when it's not, you're teaching them how to treat you. That's not humility. That's emotional exposure, and it costs more than you realize. You can't keep pouring out your energy into conversations that go in circles, into people who only show up when they need something, or into situations that leave you emotionally bankrupt. Every time you say yes when your soul is saying no, you betray yourself. And over time, self-betrayal becomes your normal. You start feeling guilty for resting, guilty for saying no, guilty for wanting space. And that's how you lose your identity in the name of being kind. But kindness without boundaries is self-destruction in disguise. You are never meant to be available to everyone at every time for every reason. You are not the solution to everyone's crisis. You are not responsible for everyone's feelings. You are allowed to say, I need space. You are allowed to say, this conversation is draining me. You are allowed to disconnect from what disturbs your peace. And let's be clear, setting boundaries doesn't mean you're unkind or selfish. It means you value your mental and emotional health. It means you've matured to a place where you no longer allow guilt to manage your relationships. Because not everyone deserves full access to you, especially those who have shown they can't handle it. The problem is, when you've lived without boundaries for so long, the first time you start setting them, it feels wrong. You'll second guess yourself. People will accuse you of changing. Some will even leave. And that's okay, because anyone who leaves when you start protecting your peace was only there when it was convenient for them. Peace is expensive, and it costs things like comfort, approval, and even a few relationships. But guess what? The more you protect it, the more you'll realize peace is worth the price. You'll stop apologizing for taking care of your soul. You'll stop explaining why you're no longer tolerating chaos disguised as connection. You'll start seeing clearly who's truly with you and who was only with your access, your energy, your effort. You are not cold for having boundaries. You are not mean for choosing peace. You are not broken because you're finally putting yourself first. You are becoming someone who refuses to be emotionally manipulated, stretched thin, or guilt-tripped into exhaustion. Boundaries aren't about building walls around your heart. They're about building doors with locks, so that only what is good, healthy, and aligned with your peace can come through. So strength isn't always loud. It doesn't always show up in big dramatic moments or fierce comebacks. Sometimes strength looks like holding your tongue when you want to scream. Sometimes it's walking away when your pride wants to stay and prove a point. And sometimes it's smiling in a room full of chaos, not because everything is okay, but because you've learned how to manage what's happening inside of you. That's what emotional intelligence is. It's not about being numb or distant or pretending nothing bothers you. It's about being fully aware of what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and choosing not to let those emotions hijack your behavior. That choice right there, that's power. There's a false belief that emotional control means suppression. That if you don't cry or react or explode, you must be disconnected. But the truth is, those who feel the deepest are often the ones who fight the hardest for peace. Emotional intelligence isn't the absence of emotion, it's the management of it. It's knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to engage and when to exit, when to respond and when to let silence speak for you. You've probably noticed that the most reactive people are usually the ones who feel the most out of control. They snap quickly, they internalize everything, they take everything personally. They don't just feel emotions, they become them. And because they haven't developed the maturity to process what they feel, they expect others to walk on eggshells around them. But when you grow emotionally, you stop needing everyone else to regulate your inner world. You become your own anchor. And that shift is life-changing. Imagine what your life would look like if you didn't let other people's behavior dictate your mood. If you could be around chaos without letting it enter you. If you could listen to criticism without letting it define you. That's the freedom emotional intelligence gives you. It doesn't make you cold, it makes you clear. Clear about what deserves your energy, clear about how to handle conflict, clear about how to preserve your peace without becoming passive or bitter. And here's something most people never learn. Every emotionally intelligent person was once overly emotional. Every person who walks with calm once lived in constant reaction. The difference? They stopped letting every feeling become a fire. They learned to pause. They started asking themselves better questions. Why am I reacting like this? What's the deeper wound behind this feeling? Am I responding to this moment or to my past? Those questions are uncomfortable, but they grow you. And when you grow, everything around you begins to shift. People notice you're calm, and some will try to provoke it. Not everyone is comfortable with your peace. Some only knew how to connect with the unhealed version of you, the one who argued back, over-explained, chased, reacted. But now you respond differently, and not because you care less, but because you've learned to care wisely. So yes, feel everything. Let your emotions be honest. Let them rise, but then lead them. Tell your anger, you don't make the decisions here. Tell your fear, you don't get to choose my future. Tell your sadness, I hear you, but you won't stop me. That's not denial, that's discipline. That's emotional intelligence. That's the kind of strength no one can take from you. Taking control of your emotions is not just a choice, it's a shift in power. It's the moment you stop being a passenger in your own life and take the wheel. It's the quiet decision to no longer be tossed around by moods, people, or unpredictable moments. And for many, it's the first time they finally feel free. Because let's be honest, how much of your life have you lost to emotional spirals? How many days did you waste replaying conversations, overthinking someone's silence, trying to fix situations that only drained you? How many times have you known what needed to be done, but fear, guilt, or insecurity made the decision for you? That's what happens when your emotions are in control. You move, but not forward. You act, but not from clarity. You live, but not fully. Emotions are powerful, but without your leadership, they'll take you places you never meant to go. That's why emotional control isn't about denying what you feel. It's about mastering the part of you that wants to be ruled by the temporary, that part of you that panics when you're uncomfortable, that part of you that confuses attention with love, silence with rejection, conflict with abandonment. When you lead your emotions instead of letting them lead you, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. But this isn't easy. It takes self-awareness. And that's one of the hardest things to develop. because it demands honesty. It requires you to face the parts of yourself you usually avoid. To ask, why do I keep ending up in the same emotional patterns? Why do I keep giving people access to me who don't value it? Why do I sabotage peace the moment I finally feel it? Those aren't easy questions, but they're necessary. Because you can't heal what you keep hiding. You can't outgrow what you keep repeating. When you finally take control of your emotions, something incredible happens. Your decisions get better. You stop letting anger burn bridges you'll wish you had later. You stop letting anxiety rush you into things you're not ready for. You stop letting sadness convince you that nothing will ever change. And slowly, you begin to see your life with clearer eyes. You start protecting your time, guarding your focus, choosing your battles, and walking away from what doesn't serve your growth. People may not understand your transformation. They may call it distant or cold, but they didn't see the nights you couldn't sleep, the days you felt like you were drowning in your own thoughts, the times you pretended to be okay while falling apart inside. They didn't see the price you paid to get here, and they don't need to, because this new version of you, the one who responds with calm, who protects their peace, who thinks before reacting, that version doesn't explain itself. It simply lives better. Taking control of your emotions means you no longer give the loudest voice in the room the most power. It means you can feel fear and still walk forward. It means you can be triggered and choose not to react. It means you can be disappointed but not dismantled. That's not just maturity, that's mastery. And once you learn to lead your emotions, instead of being led by them, you'll look back at all the versions of yourself who were once at the mercy of every storm, and you'll thank them for surviving, but you'll also know, now you're finally driving. You felt the weight of being ruled by your emotions. You've lived the cycles, giving too much, reacting too fast, apologizing for things you should have stood firm on. But now it's time to shift. No more being controlled by the chaos within. No more handing your peace to people who didn't earn it. No more silencing your worth just to be accepted. From this moment on, you are done being an emotional fool. You are done living on impulse. You are done explaining your growth to those committed to misunderstanding you. This is your time to rise, not with noise, but with clarity, to move forward, not from emotion, but from purpose. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be in control, not of everything, but of yourself. Because when you master that, you become unstoppable. So pause before you speak. Think before you react. Guard what fuels your soul. Protect your peace like your future depends on it, because it does. You are not too emotional. You are powerful beyond words. When your emotions serve your vision, not sabotage it. Own that power. Live with intention. Lead your life like it was designed with purpose, because it was. Now go build the version of you that no storm can shake. Good luck, and thank you for listening.